Hello everyone. Today I'm going to be doing a short video on Søren Kierkegaard. Søren Kierkegaard was born on May 5th, 1813 in Copenhagen, Denmark. He died at the age of 42 on November 11th, 1855. He was Danish of Scandinavian, specifically Northern European descent. He was from the 19th century and often called the father of existentialism. Kierkegaard lived during a time when Denmark was deeply influenced by the Lutheran Church and traditional Christian morality. He came from a wealthy but melancholic family. His father, Michael Kierkegaard, was a devout and guilt-ridden man who believed he had been cursed by God, a belief that deeply shaped Søren's religious anxiety and philosophy. Now, getting to the religion and core beliefs of Søren Kierkegaard. Kierkegaard was a Christian, specifically Lutheran, but he was highly critical of the organized church in Denmark, which he thought had become too complacent and worldly. He believed that true faith requires personal struggle, doubt, and a direct relationship with God, not just attending church or following social traditions. He argued that faith isn't rational, it's a leap, an act of passion and commitment beyond reason. This idea specifically became known as the leap of faith. Now getting into some of the philosophical beliefs and ideologies of Søren Kierkegaard. Kierkegaard's work laid the foundation for existentialism, a movement later developed by thinkers like Jean-Paul Sartre and Friedrich Nietzsche, which are two people we're going to be looking at in some of my upcoming videos. So some of Kierkegaard's key ideas included subjectivity is truth. He believed that personal experience and individual perspective are more important than universal systems or abstract reasoning. Another belief is that the individual versus the crowd. He distrusted the public and the herd, or the public and the herd mentality, believing that society often pressures people to conform rather than live authentically. Stages of life. He described three main stages of ways of living. The first is the aesthetic stage, living for pleasure and beauty, like art, love, entertainment. The second stage being ethical stage, living by moral duty and responsibility. And the third stage being the religious stage, living by faith and total devotion to God, which often means suffering or sacrifice. Despair. This is one of Kierkegaard's other beliefs. He wrote about despair as part of the human condition, saying it comes from being out of touch with one's true self or with God. Now, if we look at Kierkegaard's social life and personality, he was introverted, intense, and deeply self-reflective. He was educated at the University of Copenhagen, studying theology, philosophy, and literature. He never married, but his engagement to Regine Olsen had a huge emotional impact on him. He broke it off because he felt called to a solitary spiritual life, yet he loved her deeply and wrote about her for years. He was witty, sarcastic, and loved writing under pseudonyms, also known as fake names, each representing different philosophical viewpoints. His writings were often provocative and ironic, and he openly attacked the Danish clergy and the complacency of his society. Some of his famous works includes Either Or from 1843. It explores aesthetic versus ethical living. Another one of his famous works is Fear and Trembling from 1843. Interprets the biblical story of Abraham and Isaac to discuss faith and sacrifice. Another one is The Concept of Anxiety from 1844. It discusses the feeling of dread that arises from freedom and moral responsibility. The Sickness Unto Death from 1849. defines despair and the human soul's relationship with God. And looking at Kierkegaard's legacy, Kierkegaard, after his death, his work became central to existentialist philosophy, theology, and psychology. He inspired figures like Jean-Paul Sartre, Martin Heidegger, Friedrich Nietzsche, Karl Barth, and Viktor Frankl. His writings still influence modern discussions on faith, anxiety, authenticity, and meaning. And yeah, I'm going to be doing a book review coming up on him here shortly. So be on the lookout for that. I hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you.